Good morning on this solstice eve. Welcome to the Calgary Unitarians community. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey of faith or search for meaning, welcome. If you are here for the first time or the first time in a long time, know that we are grateful to have you with us. As our statement of purpose says, we come together in beloved community to grow in wisdom, welcome and deepen relationships, and act for a just and sustainable world. My name is Alan Wall. I have the privilege of serving on your board of trustees. Why am I a Unitarian Universalist? I chose the Unitarian Universalist movement because I feel at one with a timeless community of souls, each free to believe what reason and insight reveal as true. A community where my spirit soars in moments of song and insight. Let us now, wherever we are, remember and acknowledge the traditional territories of all those whose ancestors were here before us. We of the Calgary Unitarian community live on the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. The peoples and languages of Treaty 7 include the Blackfoot First Nations of Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations of Cheniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley, and the Dene First Nation band, Tsuut'ina. We are also in the homeland of the historic Northwest Métis and of Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. We acknowledge that we are all treaty people. And now for a couple of announcements before we begin. Those of you new to our community are invited to join Reverend Deborah and the membership team in a spatial You Curious coffee breakout room today. Please ask the coffee host to put you into that room if you're interested. And any of us who would like a turkey dinner on Christmas Day, please sign up by Wednesday. Check out the e-news for details. After the service, please stay and visit with community and friends as we celebrate the solstice season with a nice warm cup of Yuletide wassail, tea or coffee, brewed to perfection in your own home. Now to Reverend Deborah for the lighting of our chalice.
Good morning to all. On this solstice day, or day before solstice, in honor of ancient traditions that celebrate this time of longest night, we observe that the flaming chalice holds the elements of the four directions: earth, air, fire, water. The lamp oil for earth, the air that feeds the flame, the fire we light, and the chalice itself, the cup, the symbol of water. We light our chalice and reflect on the light we need to guide us through these difficult times. The light of our shared faith, the light of loving community, the light of joy, love, and hope. Holding all of this, I light our chalice flame. And during this season, and to honor our Christian heritage, we have been lighting the Advent candles, so significant and tied as they are to the ancient wreath, to the ancient Yule log, we light our Advent candles. We light again the hope candle as we hold fast to hope's patient possibilities, lifting them high that they might catch the light of our dreams and shine bright in our broken world. We light again the peace candle that we inspire the world with peace, touching it into our lives in every place of stress, frustration, or fear, that we might feel the presence of peace easing our hearts and transforming our lives. We light again the candle of joy, welcoming its transforming wonders. May we create joy in all our surroundings as we share our presence, as we are able, and our simple pleasures with family and friends. And today, we light the fourth Advent candle for love. As this season of sparkle and bright unfolds around us, we welcome beauty of love is found, woven into the simplicity of every moment. May love flow from our hearts with abundance, filling every moment with the season's gift of hope and peace and joy. May it be shared truly and deeply, that all who encounter it be charged with its message and become themselves agents of love. And may our children who love without reckoning teach us the truth of this most precious gift. We are nothing without each other. Let us live then in the blessing of love, and may love light the world this season. And I now light our candles of hope, of peace, of joy, and of love. And as we take time to honor the winter solstice, you are invited to have with you a meter or a piece of ribbon, some greenery, and a candle. And I want to take a moment just to thank the many people who make this sharing time on Sunday mornings possible. The participants, and there's many you will see this morning, the AV team who work so incredibly behind the scenes, and our coffee host for facilitating social time. And now I invite you to either join in singing or enjoy the Solstice Carol being sung by Nicola, Catherine, Charlene, Brandis, Leslie, and Ev. And my apologies for saying it was Tri-U, for it is it Tri-U squared? Please enjoy the Solstice Carol.
A fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. We'll count all our blessings while the mother lays down, with snow as her blanket covering the ground. Thanks to the mother for the life that she brings. She'll waken to warm us again in the spring. The the sick and the lost. These are our children, no matter the cost. Come by the fire, the harvest to share, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. A fire is burning, the night draws near, all who need comfort, I will dance neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. The spirit of solstice is still living here.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our winter solstice service. In this more Unitarian celebration of a typical or a historical pagan celebration, and in the interest of inclusiveness, we'll borrow only certain elements from the pagan circle. The circle we make now is not to keep out, but to hold in. I'd like to invite you now to take your ribbon, if you have a ribbon, and if you don't have a ribbon, just imagine that you have a ribbon. Hold it out in front of you and lift it over your head while I say, may the spirit and intent brought by us to this holy place on this holy day bless our circle of inclusiveness and fill us with laughter, wonder, and joy that the season brings. And then in one movement, let us raise our ribbons up and put them from our laps to back behind our chairs. And now the circle is open. And Daria will help to call the quarters.
With the circle cast, we sanctify our space by calling upon the four quarters to witness our rite and to lend their blessings of peace and light. I invite you to rise in body, spirit, or imagination and face the east.
Powers of the east, element of air, we call you to this place to join with us in the winter solace. The winter solace ritual is where you grant your blessing to our voices and to our thoughts and to the sounds of our singing. Help us to call forth the new light.
In body, spirit, or imagination, let us rise and face the south. Powers of the south, element of fire, we call you to this place to join with us in this winter solstice ritual. Let your passion burn brightly in our hearts.
Powers of the west, element of water, we call you to this place to join with us in this winter solstice ritual. Let your compassion teach us we're all part of one another and how all depend on the light. Help us to call forth the new light.
I invite you to rise in body, mind, or spirit and face the north. Powers of the north, element of earth, we call you to this place to join with us in this winter solstice ritual. Let your wisdom teach us hope in the time of darkness. Help us to call forth the new light.
Holy Mother, great goddess, turner of the star wheel, Holy Father, keeper of the woods, protector of the animals, we honor and ask your presence at our circle. Grant your blessings to our voices, our actions, our thoughts, and to our singing, our playing, and our dancing.
When we peer into the shadows of the mystic forest, a startling face stares back at us. The green man, masked with leaves or disgorging foliage from his mouth. As you saw on the altar, there's a representation of the green man there where it says the winter solstice. His face stares down at us from the roofs, from pillars and doorways of our great cathedrals and churches. He appears on 2nd century Roman columns in Turkey and in Jain tables in Rajasthan. He is found all over England and some parts of Wales and Scotland, and a few rare places in Ireland. He's been seen and noted in Germany, France, Italy, Holland, and is said to be found in Spain, Hungary, Poland. India and Malaysia even have their own version of the green man. And though he doesn't seem to appear in indigenous American traditions, he can be seen in his modern role as a bringer of fortune on the walls of banks in New York and Chicago. His roots may go back to the shadow hunters who painted the caves of Lascaux and Altamira and may climb through history. In one of his manifestations through Robin Hood and the Morris dancers of Old England, to be chiseled out in wood and stone, even to this day, by men and women who no longer know his story, but sense that something old and strong and tremendously important lies behind this leafy mask. One of the earliest English epic poems of Gawain and the Green Knight may refer to yet another manifestation of the green man as a god that dies and is reborn. He is the green man, Jack in the Green, old man of the woods, Green George, and many other things to many other men and women, but one common theme runs through all the disparate images and myths: death and rebirth, and the green that is all life. The green man, old as time itself, has undergone an extraordinary transformation over the centuries. Once he was the virtual embodiment of the life force that ran rampant through every green and growing thing. Today, he is recognized as a kind of patron of the ecological movement, a representative of the natural world, a champion of Mother Earth. When humans and animals alike lived in harmony with the rest of creation, he could be the archetype of our relationship with nature. So when we sing "And the Lady Bore the Green Man," we are singing about Our Lady, the Mother, our Earth, who bears the green man as her charge to take care. Our remote ancestors said to their Mother Earth, "We are yours." Modern humanity has said to nature, "You are mine." The green man has returned as the living face of the whole earth, so that through his mouth we may say to the universe, "We are one." The green man does more than merely usher in the cold breath of winter to our halls. He issues a challenge to us all who would deny the power of the ancient solstice rites. He symbolizes the eternal struggle between the warmth of summer and the cold of winter, between dark and light, and the emergence of the world from the death of winter to the birth of new life in spring. He carries a bough of holly as a token of his true nature. If you have a bit of greenery, I've got a little itty bitty piece here, please place this on your home altar, or just imagine holding a piece of greenery as a symbol of the green man's challenge to us all to do well for our environment, each other, and ourselves.
Oh, the holly bears a berry as white as purest silk, and
Long have our ancestors watched the skies, told stories to explain the awe and the wonder they observed. One that we'll have a chance to witness happens tomorrow, the last time Saturn and Jupiter, the largest planets in our solar system, orbited as closely as they will on December 21st and were visible in the sky, was in the year 1226, almost 800 years ago. Astrologers are heralding it as a time of rebirth. And holiday aficionados are calling this bright conjunction happening so close to Christmas Day, the Christmas star. Perhaps that is the star explained. And the stories evolve with knowledge and understanding. So this morning I offer a contemporary take on an ancient story, the one that is being shared this morning, the Oak King and the Holly King. And I offer this story from Erica Barron. The story is told that in the beginning there were two gods who were brothers, and like many brothers, they struggled with each other for ascendance and power. One brother was the king of the forces of life, light, and warmth. He wore a crown made of green oak branches and brought with him all growth and vitality, fertility, and abundance. He was called the Oak King. His brother was the king of the forces of death, cold, and darkness. He wore a crown made of the prickly holly branches and brought with him all withering and decay, stillness, and hibernation. He was called the Holly King. Now the brothers were identical in strength, and so year after year the same pattern was repeated. Each year the Oak King would grow strong and mighty, and during his time of dominance the light would gradually increase, bringing with it warmth and abundance. But each year, at the height of his power, he would be thrown down by the Holly King. In the wake of the Holly King's victory, the light would gradually wane, and as it did, cold would come, and the land would go dormant. But at the height of the Holly King's power, he would be challenged again by the Oak King and would fall, and the cycle would repeat again and again and again. Alone, the brothers were equal, but soon there came a race of beings known as people. The people watched this cycle, and pretty soon they began to take sides. The people loved light and warmth. They feared darkness and cold. And so each year they would celebrate the victory of the Oak King, but they would mourn the victory of the Holly King. When the two struggled with each other, the people would lend their strength of voice and body, their minds and their spirits to the Oak King, but the Holly King was without their support. And so time went by. And over time, the people's adoration of warmth and light grew, and so they began to invent ever new ways to find light in the darkness and warmth in the cold. And finally, if they wished it, they could spend all of their time in the light they had created, and they could be warm all year long. But their efforts to stay always in the light and the warmth were not without consequences. Generations passed and generation again, and the people did not at first notice the shifts in the balance. But finally they could ignore it no longer. The people began to notice that the darkness was disappearing from the land, driven out by millions of lights the people had created. Animals, birds, plants, and even people began to suffer the effects of light unbalanced by darkness. But it was not just darkness that was disappearing. Cold began to flee too. The whole world began to get warmer. Summer began sooner and lasted longer. Ice that had been frozen for longer than the longest memory of the oldest person in the land began to melt. Migrating birds and animals began to be confused about when to begin the migration. Plants found themselves rooted in climates no longer supplying their needs. The air was changing. The winds that had brought rain and taken it away again began to flow in unexpected directions, causing drought here and flood there. People began to see that their support of warmth and light over cold and darkness had altered the balance of the whole world. They began, slowly, one at a time, to realize that the Holly King was dying. And for the first time, this thought filled them with fear. What would happen if the balance continued to be destroyed? Could they even survive in a world without the Holly King? And in the world of the gods, the Oak King realized too. And though they had been competitors all these centuries, he also realized that he loved his brother deeply and could not live without him. The longest night came, and the Oak King and the Holly King met again. But this time the Oak King had no heart for the fight. He laid down his sword and spear. He came open-handed to his brother, who was struggling just to stay on his feet. The Oak King wrapped the Holly King in a tight embrace, and he promised to set aside their enmity and to help his brother heal. On the night when he usually claimed ascendance, the Oak King realized that the world was already too warm and too light. And so he laid the great oak crown on the head of his brother, took his hand, and each supported the other. They went out into the world to see what could be done to restore the balance. On this solstice day, may we remember the importance of balance in the world and in ourselves. May we celebrate all the cycles of life and do what we can to restore the balance. Blessed be, and please now join me in singing the winter solstice chant.
Children of the earth, we have come to sing for each other, sister to brother, songs of our Mother Earth. Children of the earth, autumn soon will breathe her last breath, and quick will her death bear witness to winter's birth. Children of the earth, can you feel the air getting cold as darkness takes hold and sleep covers Mother Earth? Children of the earth, we have come to sit in the darkness, breathe in the silence, think of our Mother Earth.
In the modern Druid tradition, we are in the middle of the season of Samhain, midwinter as we know it. To our ancestors, this was a vital time when the nights were long and the promise of longer days was nigh. Candles were lit to bring light as well as warmth. And today we light a candle to honor the ancestors of our blood, our own family members who have gone before and to whom we owe our existence, ancestors of spirit, those who we have admired and have been inspired by throughout history, and the ancestors of the land, the ancestors of the first people upon whose land we live. And just as we acknowledged the territory at the beginning of our service, we honor the ancestors today. If you have a candle, I invite you to light one or kindle the light of remembrance within your heart. While I light the ancestor candle, if you would like me to read the name of a loved one on your behalf, please type it into the chat. After all has been said and all has been held in the silence of our heart, we remember them all. Sheila, Mansa, Ruth, and Walter Keith, Mother Joanne, Grandmother Bunny and Gladys, Randy Lind, William Myers Stewart, Mother Audrey, Father Gordon, Brother Catherine and Michael, my children, Father Jim, Jack and Barb, Peter and Helen, Mother Margaret, Grandma Lottie, Monica Lewis, Mothers Belva and Georgette, Mother Marjorie, Father Wilfred, Grandmother Gladys, Mother-in-law Jean, Father-in-law Jerry, Albert, Min, William, Hank, Bob, and Jackie, and Grandmother Burley Elizabeth, Mother Mary, Father Hedger, Nikita, Tika, Fluffy, Mary Jane, Verna Pollack, Mr. Marta, may their light always shine within our hearts.
And now I'd like to invite you to join me in the Litany for the New Year. For those who are born or have a birthday between the 1st of January and the end of June, I'd like to invite you to join me in reading the non-italicized print in the litany. And for those who have birthdays between the end of June and the end of December, I'd like to invite you, please, to join Daria in reading the italicized print in the litany. For the return of the sun.
We are thankful.
For the gifts we give and receive.
We are thankful.
For all the gift givers.
We are thankful.
For the children of wonder.
We are thankful.
For children everywhere.
We are thankful.
for sunsets and starlight,
We are thankful.
for fabulous feast days,
We are thankful.
for those who cook them,
We are thankful. For the tree in the corner,
we are thankful.
for the candles in the window,
We are thankful.
for the icicles on the trees,
We are thankful.
the song of the birds,
We are thankful.
for animals everywhere,
We are thankful.
for the light on the snowfields,
We are thankful.
for the gifts of friendship,
We are thankful. And now we come to the part of our circle where we open the circle. And I'd like you to invite you to take your ribbon from the back of your chair if you can, or your imaginary ribbon if you can, and use this ribbon on your home personal altar, or in your imagination, or if you have a green man or a green man stand-in, you may use your ribbon to decorate him or her or they, them, whichever you like. So, and with that, we are going to open our circle. So I will extinguish the solstice candle. We thank you, God of the returning light and Goddess who manifests as the fertile earth, for your presence and for the new light of the winter solstice. Let it grow strong enough to transform our lives. Stay if you will, go if you must. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.
As we near the end of our rite, let us rise in body, spirit, or imagination and face north as we release the quarters, starting with earth.
To the power of the north, we thank you for your presence at our ritual. Let us carry this new light in our heart with wisdom.
The powers of the West, we thank you for your presence at our ritual. Let us carry the new light in our hearts with compassion. Let us dream new dreams and weave them into being.
To the powers of the South, we thank you for your presence at our winter solstice ritual. Let us carry the new light with the passion and power of love.
To the powers of the East, we thank you for your presence at our winter solstice ritual. Let us carry the new light with new thoughts and new song. Let us begin now as a new year begins.
Now that we have released the quarters with our thanks and blessings, let us now celebrate in mind, body, or spirit with a dance, which shall be led by Ronnie Joy.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to rise and dance in your body. You may also dance seated and dance in your spirit and your imagination. The first part of the dance you'll see in a moment, it's the Great Mother giving birth to him. It's a free dance, so dance as you will. When we say, when the sun comes up again, I invite you, if you're standing, to take a step forward and reach up. If you're seated, you can do this with your arms. Just reach up. It's like you're scooping up the earth. You're scooping up the sun and you're rising the sun. And then we will do a circle with our hands when the sun is reborn, and then just do a happy dance at the end. And I invite you to dance with us and celebrate however you choose to do so. Blessings.
And now we come to the part of our program that everybody looks forward to every year. When we meet in real time, we do this play. This is our Mummers play, and it has been a historical tradition at the Unitarian Church for, let's say maybe 20 years. And we've conscripted many, many congregants into the different parts of it. But this year is different because we have created a virtual Mummers play, and we have involved children and adults and people not only from the province of Alberta, but from farther away. And hopefully you will recognize Van Drake, who used to live and be part of our congregation here in Alberta, in Calgary. So the Mummers play is ancient, and I'd like to invite you to sit back, settle yourself in, and be prepared to be highly entertained with our Mummers play.
Make room, my gallant folks. and give us space to rhyme. We've come to show you young Martha's play upon the soul of time. If you don't believe what I do say, let Mother Earth step in and clear the way. Enter Mother Earth.
In comes I, old Mother Earth. Welcome, or welcome not. I hope old Mother Earth will never be forgot. You know that I am here to stay. I'll show you all mirth and pastime this solstice day. For on this day, on the ground, there shall be shown the dreadfulest battle that ever is known.
Fanfare of many kinds of viewers. In comes young Martha.
Here come I, the young Sun King. Mithras is my name. Is there anyone who dare to stand before me with shining sword in hand?
Enters Dark Knight.
Here come I, the Dark Knight, just creeping in from the long year to fight. That Mithras I do not fear, no matter what sharp sword he bear. For if his head is made of brass, and if his body made of steel, from my shoulder to my knuckle bones, that's the place to feel. I'll clip his wings, he shall not fly. I'll cut him down, or else I die.
Young Martha comes forward.
If thou art the Dark Knight, draw thy sword and let us fight.
I have come to fight young Mithras, noble man of courage bold, and if his blood runs hot, I'll quickly make it cold.
Here come I, young Mithras, a valiant one, with naked sword and spear in hand. Who comes forth to bring the light and sun to this very cold land? Hold on, my gentleman, thou talkest very bold. But scarce I'll have 3 rounds with thee, and I'll bring thee to thy bended knee and vanquish. I will leave thee. Thee.
They fight and the Dark Knight is overpowered until he finally falls.
Oh no!
Oh, now, young Mithras, what hast thee been and done? Thou hast cut down this Dark Knight like the coming of the sun.
He gave me the first challenge. Why should I deny? Draw out thy sword and fight, said I. Pull out thy purse and pay. I will have satisfaction before I go away.
Mother Earth calls the doctor.
Is there a doctor to be found to cure this poor Dark Knight that lies upon the ground?
Enters Doctor.
Oh yes, oh yes. There is a doctor to be found to raise the knight that lies upon the ground.
Well, doctor, what's thy fee?
50 guineas is my fee, but 5 guineas I will take from a poor old woman like thee. I can cure the itch, the stitch, the palsy and the gout, the ache, the break, the wart, and the downspout. And if the imp is in, I'll drive him out.
You're very clever, doctor. Where hast thou been to learn all these things?
I've been all round England, Scotland, Ireland, Greenland, Iceland, Finland, and Newfoundland, to Fogo and the Canary Isles, to Portugal and Spain, and all the regions round about and back again.
Thank ye, doctor. Try thy skill.
I carry this little bottle of Alley Campaign. 3 drops on this dead knight will bring him back to life again.
Doctor puts a drop on the Dark Knight's skull and 2 drops on the breastbone of his heart.
I awaken.
Arise, you bold champion, and do no more than act thy part. Show these ladies and gents thy valiant heart.
Dark Knight raises from the ground. Then they all join in the singing the following Morton dirty tune, Darling Chimney Tune.
Let me set my mournful ditty to a very merry tune. Thou wilt never come for pity, thou wilt come but for a boon. Solstice comes but once a year, but when it comes, it brings good cheer. Roast beef, plum pudding, and mince pies. Who likes that better than little Johnny Jack and I?
No one, Mommy.
I don't think they do, my son. So walk in, little Johnny Jack, and act thy part. Show these ladies and gents thy bold and gallant heart.
And enters little Johnny Jack. Here come I, little Johnny Jack, with my wife and family at my back. He shows some dolls tied on his back. Some are here and some are at home. I'm afraid they'll be starved before I can come with a pocket full of money and a belly full of beer. I hope you all have a happy new year. Ladies and gentlemen, our play is ended, and we salute whistle. My hat is recommended. To fill it top as you will be so bold, we will then commend to it to in from the cold. Little Johnny Jack takes off his box hat and goes round using as a money box.
Or silver or gold if you can, on whatsoever you give, there is no ban. In fact, you can note the many ways to give immediately following this play. This ends our solstice play for another year. Let your hearts to the dark night show no fear. The Sun King rules from now till June, and days get longer starting soon. For he will arise in June and will rule again until this time next year. Happy solstice, good Yule, and a merry new year.
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year. We are not daily beggars that beg from door to door, but we're the neighbor's children that you have seen before. Love and joy come to you, and to you our wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year. I have a little purse, it's made of leather skin. I need a silver sixpence to line it well within. Love and joy come to you, and to you a wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year.
And so our solstice celebration comes to a close. I hope you can smell the wassail steaming in your homes, and that you will join us following the service for time together to socialize, to celebrate, to perhaps dance and sing a song or two more. For now, I extinguish the light of our chalice, knowing that it burns brightly within each of us, and that we shed our light wherever we can, and also that we honor the dark. With this, I extinguish our chalice. Now please join us for dancing and merriment and a time to socialize. Be well, one and all.